Hello, welcome back to my channel if this is your first time here. Hi, I'm Cassidy. If it's not, thanks for always tuning into my videos. Today, we have a very exciting video, or a very not exciting video, because we're going over the worst books of the year. But like, that is not exciting because I have to remember that I've read books that I hated, and all I wanted to do was read books I love. Originally, I was just going to do the top 5 books that I didn't like this year, but I looked at my list and I actually only have a couple 1 to 2 star reads, so I figured I'm just gonna talk to you about all of them, because there's not that many, which is good. I had a good reading year, if this is my only, like, hated books. We're gonna start with the only 1 star review I gave out this year. Can anyone guess? Pause the video right now and guess what you think my 1 star book was. And actually, while you're at it, guess if you can name all of the books that I gave 2 stars to. My least favorite books. I did put these in order, by the way. So, my 1 star book, drum roll please, was Den of Vipers by K.A. Knight. If you read this book this year and it is not on your worst books of the year, there's something wrong with you. Because I don't understand how anyone can like this book on a serious level. This was terrible. Like, opinions are subjective, but this book was terrible. Den of Vipers, you are following our main character, whose name I do not know, and to be honest, I don't care enough to look up, who, gets sold by her dad as collateral to a gang of 4 brothers who, like a mafia gang, and becomes their, like, prisoner, who then fucks them all. And it's weird, and it's messed up, and there is no plot. This book is sex scene after sex scene after sex scene, and they are not good sex scenes. I remember I got to the first sex scene, and I was like, cool, I liked this, this wasn't terrible. And then it just got worse from there, and it really did never go back up. This was a whole chunky book too, and I read all of it. I don't even like romance books, so I don't know why I picked this up. Actually, I do know why, because I'm so easily swayed by any type of hype. And that is something I need to work on next year, because I do not need to be picking up the next Den of Pipers. Yes, I'm talking about you, Pooh book. At least you're short, though. At least you're short. Yeah, I can't say anything about this book other than it's just bad. Like, are people on Goodreads say that you're, like, you have a hero protagonist? She ain't a hero. She just has sex with everyone. You have trigger warnings for all sorts of sex scenes. There's glass bottles going up yin-yangs. There's knives going up hoo-has. There's things that should not be shared through brothers. And it's just that. Just worst book of the year. Worst book. Okay, let's move on. Nothing else needs to be said about Den of Vipers. We do not need to give it the time of day. Although I will say I do not regret reading it, because I laughed so hard and I did enjoy reading it, and now being in on the conversation, I also really enjoy that. My second least favorite book of the year, The Nature of Witches by Rachel Griffin. I really disliked this book, and I had really wanted to love it. Again, I was sold a fantasy book, and this book is more romance-based than fantasy-based in my opinion. It is a romance book set in a fantasy world. It's a fantasy romance, but it's predictable, the writing is repetitive, the magic system itself is cool and unique, and I did really like that, but I could not get past that it was boring. The writer repeated 3 things again and again and again, which made me know exactly what would happen in this book and how it would end, because she didn't, like, trust you to understand that those things were important, so she kept saying them again and again, which eventually ruins the fun, because I know that these are so fucking important for a reason, and now the whole book has been ruined because I know what's gonna happen. I know a lot of people who liked this book, so this is definitely subjective to my taste. Well, all books are subjective. Let's be real here. All reviews, all tastes are very subjective. But yeah, I know a lot of people who liked this book, and I just didn't get along with it. And I wanted to, because look how pretty this cover is. Like, I would just like it to sit on my shelf. But nope. You had to go and be terrible. You're following Clara, who is an Everwitch, which means that she has the power of all 4 seasons, where most witches only have 1 season. And essentially climate change, a thing, and she kind of has to save the world because of climate change. I did really like the world building and the concept of climate change being such a big thing, and the different witches' powers based on their seasons, like being a autumn or a spring or a summer, and how their personalities were different because of which season, which was cool, but did not like it. Didn't enjoy it. It was boring, predictable, basic. I feel like I'm being really harsh today. My third least liked book, Wrangle by Darren Charlton. I just read this. And you know what? I had the exact same problem that I had with Nature of Witches. Someone sold this to me as a zombie dystopian book. I mean, it is a zombie dystopian book, but it's a romance. This one is a queer romance, which makes it slightly better than the other one, because queer romances are just so much better. But this book is too soft and cinnamon rolly and wholesome-y for a zombie dystopian book. This is Warm Bodies. This is like that movie. If you've ever seen Warm Bodies and you liked Warm Bodies, read this. I hated Warm Bodies. I hated this. Correlates, right? I want my zombie books to be dark and gritty and horror, and I was very excited to get that from here. I knew that there was a romance because it does say part zombie epic, part gay love story. So I knew going into this there was going to be a gay love story, and I was excited for it because, I mean, like, docile gay love story. Well, not really love story, but there's gay shit that happens in it. I liked. And I do like a romance from time to time, but I wanted more dark, gritty, eating human flesh zombies than I got. I wanted more terror, I wanted more stress, I wanted more panic. Like, I wanted that kind of tension, and I didn't get that here. This book is not scary, there's no tension, it's just fizzles at the surface. Do you understand what I'm saying? Like fizzles. The zombies are here, the happiness is here, and it just kind of like fizzles and then eventually spikes upwards. I don't know what I'm saying. When do I ever know what I'm saying, though? And yeah, if you don't know, Wranglestone is about the town of Wranglestone, which is an island in a national park where there are zombies. It's a zombie dystopian. So there's zombies, and the island is doing so good because there's water, so the zombies can't get to them. But when winter comes, the ice freezes over, and, like, shit gets real for them. But shit don't get real. And yeah, you follow Peter, who is not very capable in the world of zombies, and as he journeys outwards. Also, this book was so dang, like, I won't say it was predictable. I mean, it kind of was predictable, but mostly it just didn't make sense to me. A lot of the choices that were made, a lot of the things that happened didn't make sense to things that were told to me earlier on in the book, which I hated. So there was, like, multiple aspects of why I didn't like this, and in my wrap-up I did say, like, I can understand why other people like this, it just wasn't for me. The fourth book on my list, honestly, I kind of tied these two. I couldn't remember which was worse. So 4 and 5 I'll give you right now was a tie between Black Sun by Rebecca Roanhorse and Fortuna Sworn by KJ Sutton. I'm gonna put KJ Sutton first, so KJ Sutton will be fourth on the list because I don't plan on continuing this series. Well, I guess I kind of did. But, so technically in fourth place is Fortuna Sworn and the sequel to Fortuna Sworn, which is Restless Slumber, because I read them both and I hated them both. But I did give it a chance. I was in a fantasy romance mood. I had just read Den of Vipers, I think, and I wanted something slightly better. So I honestly think these could have gotten a worse review, but Den of Vipers, like, upped them a little bit. Fortuna Sworn follows Fortuna, whose brother went missing, and everyone thinks he's dead, but Fortuna doesn't believe that he's dead, and she is a nightmare. And one day this man stumbles across her and says that he knows where her brother is, and if they make a deal for her to come marry him in his world, then he will show Fortuna her brother. He ends up being the fairy king, and yeah. I had previously read ACOTAR, A Court of Thorns and Roses, right before reading this, and I know A Court of Thorns and Roses is a retelling of two different stories, but dang, I thought Fortuna Sworn was A Court of Thorns and Roses. Like the plot to me is exactly the same, besides, like, one little twist, I feel like. And it was just a shittier version, because I liked A Court of Thorns and Roses. I had wanted the trials in this to be a little bit longer. I had wanted the sexy scenes to be a little bit sexier. And I really just, I wanted more from it. I read this really early on this year, so it's like really kind of hard to remember, but I'm not going to reread it and torment myself again. And then I read the second book and was also just like, about it, but it was quick reads and I was just in the mood to read something completely different than what I read. And I hated the ending of the second book. Cannot. Like, let's leave it out there. Don't like. Nope. Couldn't continue, even if I wanted to, which I don't even know why I continued in the first place, considering I gave the first book 2 stars. But Becca loves it, like Becca in the books, and I was like, I'm gonna love it too. Like, with A Court of Thorns and Roses, the second book is so much better, so like, I thought maybe, and I was let down. And so then we have the 5th on the list, since I just like put those together, which is Black Sun by Rebecca Brownhorse. I really wanted to like this book. I really did. I did like it. I was along for the ride, the journey was there, and then just nothing happens. This book is solely character driven. There is a plot, but I feel like the plot, it just kind of ends. Like I wasn't satisfied by it. I know a lot of people love this book and they love the characters. I didn't really love anyone. And it was just I wanted to like it, and I think if the ending had been different and been more explosive, I would have liked it, like, but I just didn't go there for me, so I will be picking up the second book whenever it comes out, because I would like to give it a chance, because I think that it could go somewhere really cool. I did enjoy the world in this. Essentially, Black Sun, you follow 3 different POVs. The main one is this boy, I'm so bad at names, so I can't remember it, who has been offered to the god to be like a reincarnation, and trigger warning, there's a lot of like kind of body abuse to a child in the beginning, because she like his mom like cuts up his back, and then it's kind of just his journey to get to the place to fulfill the prophecy and his destiny, but like it's just and then you're following another character who's on a boat. I didn't like these books. I don't remember that much about them is the problem. Let me sip my Prosecco. Who is Teak, I think, is what she's called. And she is on this boat, and she's kind of like an outsider because of who she is, and people don't trust her. And then we're following a priest, who I actually really enjoyed the priest point of view. Yeah, I don't really remember that much. But I'm gonna continue. The next book on my list is Every Heart a Doorway by Seanan McGuire. This is the first book in the Wayward Children series. I recently read this. It's my last book of 2021. And again, I wanted to love it. I really wanted to love it. This is a solely character-driven book. It does have a plot. The plot is a murder mystery. I knew the person who done it very early on, because I felt like they were steering you so much in one direction and not in this direction at all. And so that's who it was. It just made sense to me. I was just really bored after like an hour. I loved the first hour, which was like the setup, and we were really learning about the different worlds that the people go through. I really want more of that, so I'm willing to try the next book, because I think I'm gonna love the next book, because it does dive more into the world, I believe, and gives you a little bit more depth. So I am excited to like that. I just didn't like this one. If you don't know, Wayward Children series follows these kids that go through doors and they find like their home. Like, it's the only place that they feel like they've ever belonged, and they live lives there, and then something happens and they get kicked out or have to leave for some reason and aren't welcomed back at this moment in time. When they're back in the real world, their parents often don't understand and are trying to make them who they were before, but they've gone through these experiences, but the parents don't understand. They think that they're lying and send them to this boarding school, the Wayward Children's home. Then at this home, they're kind of taught how to like move on with their lives. Not necessarily how to forget, but just how to like live. They all go through different doors, and the doors are intriguing. What happens on the house wasn't as intriguing to me, so I was just bored. Literally, this book is on here because I was bored. Nothing else really to say about it. The last 2-star read I had of the entire year, I don't even think it's my least favorite of the year, but I'm putting it on here, Warstorm by Victoria Aveyard. I just hated the ending. This is it. It was a 5-star read until the last 20 pages, and I just hated the ending. This is the book 4 in the Red Queen Quartet. Can't really tell you anything about it. But yeah, I don't really have to go into depth in this because I loved this book until the last freaking 20 pages, and then I just despised it. This was actually, you know what's really funny? This was my first read of the year, and the last one was my last year read of the year. So I started and ended this year on 2 stars. How sad! Maybe though, if I pick a 5-star read to start this year off with, I'll end with a 5-star read. That's a good idea, right? That's a good idea. I'm not going to go into depth with this, I just wanted to throw it out here that this is like my only other 2-star read. It's probably more of a most disappointing book than a worst of the year, and maybe on that list. I haven't really figured that list out yet, not gonna lie. I have one more honorable mention, which is Nothing But Blackened Teeth by Cassandra Khaw. This is technically a 0-star read for me, but as I said when I read it, I have no idea what happened. It was like a 2-hour audiobook. I put it on. I just kind of half listened to it because I was really bored, and I can't tell you anything that happened in this book, so I don't really feel right putting it on the worst of the year, but I obviously didn't enjoy it because I didn't listen enough to it and pay attention and like really digest what was happening. So this is probably should be on this list, but I kind of feel wrong putting it on this list because yeah. So there we go. And those are my worst books of the year. Considering I've read 80 books this year, the fact that I think I have 9 on this list, including my 2 honorable mentions, is not bad at all. I will take that many 2-star, 1-star reads next year too. Like, I DNF'd a lot of books this year that I just knew I wasn't liking, and I want to continue that next year because why read books that I don't like? Like, what's the fun in that? Thank you so much for watching. If you made it this far and you would like to leave me a comment down below but you have no idea what to say, you can leave me a alcohol emoji. Like a wine glass, a Prosecco glass, anything. Some cheers, beer, just some alcohol. And if you'd like to connect with me on other platforms, my Bookstagram, my Book Twitter, my beauty channel, and my Goodreads are all linked in the description bar below. I would love to talk to you elsewhere. Just have a wonderful day, and here are some videos on the screen that I think you would enjoy if you checked out. Have a wonderful day.